What's up, you dirtbags? This is a live show. We are currently in Indianapolis, Indiana, and we are sitting here at the WWETT house with the WWETT store. And we're on a big couch, and we've got 4 microphones. And shout out to Lucian, our producer today. Lucian, let's go.
Pump it up.
And we got some drinks going. This is night number 2 of the podcast. Don't know how much you guys saw of the last podcast, but I'm sure there'll be some clips sprinkled out there. Who is our guest host today? James Stixma?
No, it's not my turn. We got in the corner over there.
Yeah.
Frank.
Chillwack.
Frank, let's do it.
Frank.
We got our guest host.
Jabroni.
All right, put in the popular vote for Jambrone, Frank Jambrone.
Frank
2025,
Jambrone.
host of the year.
Host of the year. So you're going up against 2 heavy hitters, though.
Yeah.
2 heavyweights. Devin Whitemer and Brian Anderson.
Just for everybody, like the name joke is everybody screwed up everybody's name. We've all met each other on the internet. A couple people have met each other once or twice, but like, I don't know, nobody asked me about like buying a laptop for a Nigerian daughter or something like that. So I'm not worried about like getting capsized here or capsized the boat. But anyway,
So,
I'm really worried about getting captured.
Hey, so far so good. I mean, last night we had a great. If there's any time to get captured or have money stolen, it was last night.
Yeah.
And I think Brian and I in our 95-degree room, we were basically a dead corpse at that point.
You're welcome.
We were useless. We were completely useless.
Yeah, we got. There we go.
There you go.
That guy there.
Welcome.
Got Jim Nance over here. Welcome, friends.
Saying welcome to the mic. Welcome to the show.
Oh man. So let's talk a little bit about. So we just got back from dinner. What was the restaurant name?
Sullivan's.
Yeah, Sullivan Steakhouse. Oh, we got to introduce a new guy.
Oh yeah.
Competitors.
Yes. Friends.
We got
Fellow
talking.
businessmen, competitors. Community.
Let's hear
Collaboration.
So collaboration, competition. What is the situation here? What do we got going?
I wouldn't say it's competition. I say it's 2 competitors that understand their value, and they help each other.
You guys
Right.
in the same business? What do you guys do? Do you guys live close to each other? I mean, I know the answers, but
Introduce yourself.
Yeah, Jacob, A&R Wastewater, Dervin and I have known each other for quite a while. I'm in northern Indiana, but I go in his territory in southwestern Michigan, and we both do septic and sewer work. And we've kind of overlapped each other, but we both value our work. And I think we know what our value is, which is probably one of the main things that we should be talking about, is how to value your work and how to work with your competitors to understand your value in your area.
I gotta ask, has it always been that way? Have you guys always been this friendly, sitting this close on the couch, or was there definitely times of struggle or times where you hated each other?
No.
No, I really don't think so.
No.
I think it's been lovely relationship.
Yeah. I think it's cool. It's cool. So this is how the industry gets better.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have guys in my town that are almost ready to die and retire and stuff like that. And they have never waved to me as I
In
go
that order.
as we pass each other, which is horrible.
Sure.
It does nothing for the community. It does nothing for the industry. But yeah, I've always, I don't know when I would have had you on my radar and been like, oh, that's Jacob and there's A&R. And I always felt like we both were trying to be the professionals in our field.
Mm-hmm.
We both weren't trying to be the 80% of the industry guy. Like I'm gonna get 80% of the margin in my field. It's not coming to mind. What do you call that when you're trying to get a market share? That's
Market share.
I want 90% of the market share, and I'm gonna get it. By golly, that's not the point. We both get the jobs that we get, and we do it well.
Yeah.
And so I look at Jacob and I say, "Good job," and I think the feeling's mutual.
That's I think where the respect comes from. You see somebody else doing the same good job that you are. You're like, they're not out to demean the industry. They're not out to make it any less than what it is. They're going to make it easier to make the profit that you want to make. And so you embrace that person. Hopefully they embrace you. If they don't, it is what it is. You keep going along your business. But if they do, then it's a good relationship and you can only help each other.
Yeah.
I think here's a good example of that. There was a project for an RV facility And I think we actually talked about the job at an MSTA show. You're like, hey, you bid in that job? And yeah, I bid that job too. And we didn't really.
I think that's called collusion. We should be careful.
Okay. Well, no, but we had already bid it.
Yeah,
It was over. Like neither one of us got it. And we were just saying, okay, you know, I was here and I was here. So I was the highest. He was the next. And the cheap guy got it.
yeah.
And so I was just like, okay, well.
Your exact words are like, I'm not getting that job.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, no, it's like, yeah, not collusion, but, you know, that's the kind of stuff. And I know I bid on a few other jobs that I know he got because I knew the contractor doing the job. And I'm like, good on you. We're busy too. So I think, did you guys do the Lutheran school?
Yeah.
Lift station upgrade? Yeah, I bid that too. And we were very close.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was cool to see too. Like, okay, good. You know, we're both in the running here. Yeah. And I wasn't like, you know, 5,000 under him or 5,000 over him, you know, stuff like that. So it felt good to be like, everybody's doing a good job.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, you have to know your own numbers. You have to, put your number forth that you can make happen for your business because everyone has a different overhead. Everyone has different profits that they're looking to make, but truly like pushing yourself to compare, like what did yours come in at? Are you getting that? And then also to your point about market share, I think all of us can agree, like we don't want to work with everybody. And there are a lot of clients or a lot of projects that we'd rather, give to somebody else for their opportunity or just like it's not worth the headache working with them.
I think it's affirming when you have somebody else that is close to you on your bid. Yeah. You're like, I got my numbers right. I'm in the market. I'm doing something right. Mm-hmm.
And you're accountability.
Yeah. Yeah. You're close to what you should be. So I think it's an affirming thing in your industry, in your area, because everybody's different. From everybody around here, we have different numbers that we run on jobs.
Yeah. A couple questions then for you guys, because you're based out of Indiana, right?
Yep.
Technically. And then, so does it happen often where you're bidding the same job? And is there different like jurisdictions you have to, depending on the state? Or is it, are you guys licensed in both states or how does that work?
You want it?
Yeah, I'll start it. Yeah, we're both licensed in the same areas. And yes, we probably bid the same jobs, but it's not like every day. You know, like I don't know what else to say about that right now.
I think we talked about it a little bit, as well as where I'm kind of doing something different to where we're not in the same market necessarily. I'm doing a lot of remediations and using other things and going that route. And I don't know if this is necessarily the podcast for that and to discuss all that. But on jobs, we have some jobs that we cross over on installations. But for the most part, I'd have to say it's service work, pumpings.
Yeah,
we maybe overlap each other a little bit, but our prices are all similar.
Yeah, that's a good one. Talk about overlapping service. We got a call from the Simonton Lake, and we were talking about this. I'm sorry. This is a good story. This is good.
Gotta hear it.
Because I won. No. No, not intentionally. If I knew he would. Okay, so the funny thing was we get called out to this guy, and it's a low pressure cluster. Would you call it a cluster?
Bro, you called me to come up and open it for you to fix it.
No, I didn't tell you to open it. No.
Shots fired.
I wanted you to shut the valve.
He's stammering.
Yeah.
He's backtracking.
No.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a low pressure. Everyone has pumps into this low pressure system. And these pumps, it must have been a lightning storm or something came through and blew a bunch of pumps out. And then also a fitting coming out of a lift station was broken. So the one guy had sewage literally just pushing back all over his yard. We fixed the first guy. And in this situation, Simonton Lake Association has the pumps and the homeowner pays for that. You just pay for the service to get it swapped out. So we did that one. And the neighbor was there. And he saw us and he's like, hey, I got this problem over here. Can you do it too? I'm like, yeah, sure. So we had half a day or whatever. So I moved the guys over there. I brought a vac truck out and we were like, we get down, we expose this break. And of course, a low pressure system. There was no stupid check valve under the grounder valve or anything. So I was like, oh man. So C&E has a tool I know. And we couldn't find the valve. And so I called Jacob and I said, hey, you guys got a valve tool or can you come shut this thing off? And he's like, hey, wait, where you at? I said, I gave him the address and he's like, I have that job on my schedule for tomorrow.
I was not accommodating whatsoever.
He's like, I cannot make it. I'm across town. I'm like in Goshen. Sorry, can't help you. And we're like, okay, we'll just do a live fix on this one. But I felt bad because it was like I don't intentionally do that kind of stuff. But anyway, it was kind of funny. But yeah.
Is there ever a time where you do intentionally do it? Not like to anyone you know or like, but just somebody where you're like, this is a good learning lesson.
We both bid that RV job knowing that the other was bidding on it.
Yeah.
I think that's
I think that's what I mean. Is like we both were, you were higher, but we were pretty close.
Yeah.
I think it was pretty good. I think the other person that got the job, they got
Was
the
too
job
low.
and they made peanuts, and good on them for making peanuts. They don't
Yeah.
know what their value is, and I think
Right.
that's where it's at. And I think that's where we're a good example of where you can have some fun. You
Yeah.
can be upset with each other. You can
Yeah.
razzle dazzle, but you guys are in the same realm.
Yeah.
It's whoever gets there first. Whoever gets it first.
That's right. And we answered the phone, bro.
Yeah.
The value of the industry, value of the industry though too.
Yeah.
You know, not just like your own business, but the value of what's your license worth?
Yeah.
What's our trade worth?
Tension is palpable. Palpable. No, that's something we run into a lot too. Up in New Jersey is bidding against a guy that has a machine that they've owned for a long time, and there's always going to be that one person that hires a day laborer that comes in way cheaper than everybody else. But what you're saying is, that we're running an organization that's going to be around for a long time, and we're trying to build not only a company but the infrastructure behind it, and that costs money. I mean, the softwares, the products we have, the training that we put our guys through, coming out to events like this, where for me in New Jersey, there's zero value for me being here other than networking with you guys and learning about new technology and how I can be a better installer and serve my client ultimately to be a better, just service provider for them. So we run into a lot where we'll bid and we'll let people know right off the bat, we're going to be more money, but this is why. This is what we're growing. And any competent septic installer of our level is going to be within a few $100s of us one way or the other.
Yeah.
And just as you guys are.
Yeah, and I think, and I'd love to hear more on dinner tonight and the conversations that we were all having, of course, but just I would love to unpack that a little bit more because even our waiter, which this is what I was going to tell you, I will give you $20 right now if you can name the 5. You can't?
5. Josh
Yep, that's one.
did a great job. That's all I remember.
You don't
You know
remember
what
the
it was?
girls?
No, you
There
said
was
it.
the one that
$20.
brought out the steak
Abby.
and the one that brought out the drinks.
Abby.
No.
Wow, that's
Oh, Justine. Yeah, that was one. Justine. Yeah, either way, they were great.
All right,
But
you're not
Josh
getting
stood out in my
$20.
mind because he was present. He was attentive. He knew what was going on. Like he knew that we were all passionate about our industry. And he literally said at the end, he's like, I love to hear you guys talk about business. And he was attentive to what we were doing, what we were talking about, made sure we had everything we needed, and was there if we ever needed something. So it was great to see that his passion and love for his industry is relatable to what we do. It was fun. It really was.
And we weren't doing anything crazy or special. We were just talking. We're having dinner, but gosh, I'm sure all you guys saw it too. You're just looking around. You're like, this is so fun. This is us working. This is us networking, growing. Brian, I believe it was you or maybe James was saying, just getting 1% better each day, or just like trying to learn something, because we're here anyway. If we're going to be away from our families, if we're going to be away from the business, we don't want to just, well, we do goof around, but we don't want to, not come back with something more than when we left. And so I think just these conversations and these masterminds and then the sessions today, even too, just like coming away with something.
Yeah, those classes were really valuable for someone like me. So in Connecticut, we don't have to do any continuing education classes or credits like you guys would have to, which I don't really agree with. I think you should have to keep up your education, keep up on the trade. But there were some really good business classes about structuring and then also some technical stuff that I got in on. And now, when you leave your team of people, your family, your guys, gals at work, they right away think, oh, you're going on vacation, you're going to have a fun time. Yeah, I mean, it is sort of like a little bit of a vacation, but when you can
No,
go
it's
back,
not. No,
never
I'm
mind.
working hard. We're working really hard over here.
We're not drinking old fashions.
Put that apple juice down.
But when you can go back and they say, hey, how was your trip? That was great. I went to several classes. I networked with this company, that company. I learned this. I met this person. Like I talked to my wife today, and she's like, "You were in classes?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "I didn't know that. I thought it was a convention." And it's like, it is a convention, but there's also this portion of it which not a lot of people know about, and not a lot of people take full advantage of it. I think like we do, and advantage of being able to be in one place with a bunch of other professionals, who have the same mindset about business. Oh boy!
What
oh,
in the
boy.
world?
Working
Working,
hard.
yes.
Yeah. So we're gonna give our Walnut Grove excavating water break. So
Yeah.
let's get one of those in. But
Refreshing mountain
shout
water.
out to Travis. We're gonna crop him in right there. But yeah. Shout out to Travis getting a quick snooze, and we'll see him on the podcast tomorrow night as well. So we'll force him to be on the show. So shout out Walnut Grove Excavating for supplying our water break and the bush light.
Bush. It's probably a trademark with patent thing with the same bush on a podcast. We'll get by that.
I think you'll be good.
Yeah, they're not going to come after us.
How's it sounding, Lucian? Sounding good? Sweet.
Eat it.
So as we're talking about, competition and business, curious to hear from the two Canadians here, because yes, competitive, no, not competitive. I know there's some things you guys do, some things you guys don't do, but just like you guys mentioned, there is some overlap too. So curious to hear from your perspectives. Have you guys run into that? Do you see each other on the the same bid sheet? How does that work? And how have you guys kind of worked through that? And I noticed you guys are sitting on opposite sides of the couch. So I don't
staring
know
at each
if
other.
we're still
Very,
working through that.
very contentious.
I can't really hold you guys back.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah,
We drove in together and just a little hot. No, I wouldn't say we're competition at all. James is pretty big designs and systems. I'm more in pumping and repair. Hopefully I get into design and install more. But yeah, I mean, James calls us for jobs for pumping for him. I send him work. I'm more than willing to work with guys around me.
Yeah.
So
And a question on that, and let's, because right now it's easier to say, I'm pumping, I'm designing installs, but as you get into design and installs, how does that relationship work? Do you guys, does that change? Is there a certain level of respect where it is just like a healthy competition, or how do you continue to, have that friendship and that healthy business relationship?
Well, I know for me, I've been pretty open with most guys that start in our area that I'm more than happy to answer any questions that they have. There's a lot of ability for people to just do whatever they want and shut off and not learn. And the way our system is structured in BC, you can have 5 different guys show up at a property and get 5 different designs because you got 5 different people's opinions of what's supposed to be done. And so I'm all about sharing with others. When I started, I didn't really have much of a mentor to sort of hold my hand through a lot of that stuff. And so I want to be paying it forward to the guys that are coming into it and give them some answers why we're so active on social media, showing what we're doing, why we're doing the things that we're doing. And I know I've said to Jeff a number of times, if he ever has any questions at all, just to call me. And yeah, I'm all about making the industry in our area better, so that if everybody's doing it the same way, it's healthier for everybody.
How much competition do you have in your area?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends. Why
Pumper and service. Like, would you
Yeah.
want to give it to anybody else? If not, it's like a mutual respect.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a couple different pumping companies that we work with and that we do get some repair leads from. But as far as how much competition, I guess it depends on how you want to define that, because there's lots of guys out there that do it. I don't think that there's too many. We maybe have 1 or 2 in our area that probably do it to the same level that I think that we do when it comes to finishing up and getting the work done well. So are there lots of people that do it? Sure. Are they all our competition? I don't necessarily look at it that way, just because it's not to come off arrogant. It's just a different product, different finish, and there's different customers out there, right? The guy that wants to get the cheapest job, I'm very upfront with people when they call on the phone. If you're looking for the cheapest guy, cool, no problem. But I'm not him. If you want a really good job done at fair value, then let's keep talking. But yeah, not a ton of guys doing stuff the way that we do it.
I was just talking about overlap because you use him for the pumping when you need it.
Yep.
Probably means you're pretty darn good in your area because he's only using you when there's other people that you could be using, right? So that just it's a mutual respect, I think, and I think that's where it comes from, a mutual respect. When somebody's doing a good job, that's who you're going to reach out to. That's who you don't mind having competition with. That's who you don't mind bidding with.
Yeah, and Durbin, before you jump in on that, I want to comment on that point. I think it's interesting because, and I'm sure you guys don't do this, and I don't either, but there's no like exclusivity. Like, so if I send Jeff a lead, I'm not like guaranteed I have to send all my work to you, right? It's just, and I do the same thing too. I'll have these partnerships or these businesses I work with, and I'll send them work, I'll send them leads, but I'm not tied to them in any way. And I think the second you do kind of sign that away, you lose all that, in my opinion, that credibility of making sure that you're taking care of the client the best way possible, because you're not taking in all the variables of the situation, in my opinion. So I think as we all work with each other, it's not that guarantee of you have to send me all your work that's pumping related, right? Or you have to send me all the work that's design and install related. And so curious to hear your guys' thoughts on that, but I just know that I don't like to lock myself into anything. And from our business model, it's usually the construction media companies. So the ones that do the on-site photo and video. It's like we'll work with a ton of them, but I'm never going to sign away our rights to one of them. Yeah. So curious to hear your guys' thoughts on that.
I bounce between 2 to 3 different design installers. The other day I bugged James for probably about an hour with a question, and he bailed me out pretty good. So it's tit for tat. I'm not expecting him to give me every job, nor do I actually want that.
What kind of tat did you get?
Yeah,
No, I'm just kidding.
I think it's healthy to have that friendly competition. It keeps everything legit, real. You have to provide the best service at a reasonable rate, and I think it's healthy.
Yeah, I mean, same here. I mean, I think it's just wise from any business owner's standpoint that you don't necessarily put all your eggs in one basket. So that Jeff primarily will work out of Chilliwack. I don't know if he's into. He's done some stuff in Abbotsford for us, but if I get into Langley, Surrey, which again I know means nothing to the folks listening to this, but he's not going out to those areas. So then I'll work with the other pumpers that are in that neck of the woods. So we like to work with guys that we know are going to do a good job, and so that's what we do.
So I have a question in this regards, kind of what I was going to comment on. So let's say Jeff gets his certification and starts installing some systems, and he gets one of the systems that you bid on too, but he gets it and you do it. Are you going to stop getting him to pump your jobs?
Good question.
No, I don't. On its face, I'll say no, and maybe that's taking the easy way out right now. But sure. I mean, I don't think so. I mean, if that were the case, I wouldn't be calling him to do pump outs right now because he started doing maintenance and repairs, and that's something that we also offer. So, we would approach it on a case by case basis, and whether we're busy or not, and how things are going. I think it's something that's very fluid, but it's never out of any.
I think it's a two-way street.
Yeah, totally.
I think you could buy a pump truck at that point.
100%.
Then you could go the other way and
for
go
sure.
that route. So that's all I meant by mutual respect, was not that it's inclusive. It's just because he's going to do a good job. And when you're in their neck of the woods, you're going to use somebody that's going to do a good job and not have to shop.
Well, and I know Jeff's going to do a good job because he was one of the guys that came to me when there was tipping or dumping issues in our area that still exist, and he knew that I didn't have a pumping truck and said, "Can you help us? I know you're on the board and you don't have a pumper truck, and I don't want to be the one to cause any issues or ruffle any feathers." And I said, "Yeah, no problem. Like I'm more than happy to be the guy to go out there and start kicking some rocks and see if we can get any sort of change happening for the betterment of the industry as a whole." So yeah, I don't know.
Going back to your point about relationships in the industry, it's like in my area in New Jersey, everything is engineered design systems. So going like what you said is all your eggs in one basket. You can't just tie yourself to one engineer and all you do is work with him, because there's thousands of other jobs out there that you're cutting yourself out of And I think it also goes back to tying yourself to one advanced treatment system or one scope of services. You have to take care of the people in a certain area that take care of you. My trucking companies, they'll jump through hoops. I'll call them at 4:30 in the morning or shoot them a text and say, hey, I need 2 trucks on today because one thing canceled or I changed my schedule around last minute because of weather. And they'll jump through hoops for me because they know they're going to get a check at the end of the day. I take care of them and they take care of me. And having that relationship goes far beyond any type of, exclusivity contract that you could sign because I know they're going to take care of me and vice versa.
James and Jeff, you guys are bidding on the same job, and one of you obviously gets it, not the other. I don't think that's really a bad thing. That's almost like a compliment to both of your businesses that customer reached out to both of you, reached out to the best of the best. And at the end of the day, you should be happy, like say, hey, I went up against you. I didn't get it. But I know you're going to put in a really good product and represent the industry well. If you don't put in a good product and you're unprofessional and you have shoddy equipment and you do shoddy work, that would make then I'd say, you know what, maybe I won't be using you for pumping because I don't like the work that you do. And if I'm going to bid my jobs against you and we're just 2 different levels, I'm not comfortable with that. But if you're equal levels, then I'd be okay losing jobs to you.
Or it's the fact of like you bring in the pump truck and he shows up and leaves a big rut in the guy's yard because he might have had a bad day and backed in incorrectly. Like that's your name ultimately, right?
Yeah.
Like we had a couple of classes today that they referenced books and Jocko Extreme Ownership came up. And ultimately, like if you sub that guy out to come to your project and he screws it up, it's on you. You got to fix it. So making sure that you have those partners that have the same level of service and they're going to take care of your clients the same way you do.
And over where we are, we have a handful of other companies that do what we do. We always say there's enough work to go around for everybody. You don't need to steal work from anybody. You don't need to feel like work's being stolen from you. You need to go out and just put your name out there a little more, put your brand out there more. Did you get the phone call? Did you get the bid? And if not, why? Why didn't you get the phone call to bid that job?
So I think it's easy enough to talk about work and there's enough work to go around and we won't be competitive on that. But what happens when it comes to employees? So we have an employee that goes to my competitor. Maybe he wasn't poached, but maybe he just liked the other business more. Like when does it get to be a little bit too dicey there?
So I
got
think so. A few of us can, I think, talk about this, and he's okay. He's okay. I hired 2 employees last year that came from other septic businesses. One of them I reached out to because he had his resume was still active on Indeed, but he was working for another septic company. The other one, he came to us because he saw our trucks around and he wanted a change. And they're both with us now, still with us, and they're probably going to be with us for a while. I hope so, because they're happy. They're happier. They enjoy the culture that we have and how we treat them versus what they had before.
So I have pretty firm policy on this to where if anybody, I will never go after anybody else's employee, no matter what it is. If we're at a conversation, we were out to dinner the other night, all of us were together, I'll never speak wages. I'll never put that out there on what it is because you just don't want to have that fruit out there for them to know. And if they do come and talk to you, I would make sure to go and talk to their employer first before it ever happened. Because it's not that it hasn't happened, but I've had that man-to-man, man-to-woman conversation, whatever it may be, with that individual. And sometimes it goes well and sometimes it doesn't. But that's a firm policy on, like, you have to come to me. We won't ever talk about wages before you come to me. There has to be a reason you're leaving where you're leaving.
Yeah, and to your point of talking to the employer, I think that's where you can build that good relationship of like, hey, why are they leaving? What are the red flags? And usually what I've seen is that it's a respectable relationship where they're just like, hey, they were great, but this is why they left, and this is why we fired them. I wouldn't hire them if I were you, but you can do whatever you want. You know what I mean? So there's kind of that respect there, but it doesn't always happen that way. But I think if you set those boundaries, it can be very productive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that we still have contractors that we sub out whenever we need a bigger shovel for a job, and I've had conversations with the owner there saying I will not approach any of your guys to join our crew because I just don't feel right about that. I want to make sure that you guys are going to be available for us when we need you. So I'm never going to approach one of your guys about joining our crew in any capacity at all.
And I think that goes back to the mutual respect, right? That, like, if I'm on a job with a GC, or if I get brought in by a tree guy, let's say, and that tree guy has me on a job just doing stumping or moving logs for him, and the neighbor comes over, I always go with the if not for rule. So if not for that tree guy bringing me to that job, would I have had the opportunity to talk to that neighbor? And I will run it through them. Like, hey, neighbor approached me. What do I do? And that, I think, is the respect that I give that contractor of awarding me that work to be there on that site and at least offering it to him and letting him know, like, neighbor, you might not offer that service, but the neighbor came to me and said, hey, what can I do? Mm-hmm. And that's just the business. And it might not be proper business practice. I might be wrong at that. But for me, it fits my group and what I believe in and what I think is a strong relationship. So respecting that relationship is big to me.
I don't think it's ever wrong to be honest and be candid.
Yeah, because when it comes to employees, if two business owners, their employees, that's their livelihood. That taking someone's employee directly affects their livelihood. And obviously, we all go into work every day saying, "Hey, what if when I go in today, this employee doesn't show up or this employee quits? What's my plan?" You start to, when you think about it, you start to realize how much it'll actually affect your livelihood and what you're bringing home to your family. So then if you get two companies and one's going after your employees, that's personal.
So I had a situation, curious to get everybody's feedback on it. I had somebody come to me that would have been a great driver, great CDL driver, said, I just left my job today. I want to start working here today. What do? You let them go? You just say, I'm sorry, I can't do that. You got to put 2 weeks in at your other job. Let me talk to your employer and figure out why you just straight up left.
Yeah,
see where it's at.
I would definitely want to have some backstory.
There would be some conversations that would have to be had.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's not there at this point, you're free to talk to the old employer because he's gone. So that'd probably be the first phone call that I would want to make to see if I can get a little bit of a rundown on what's going on, what they can
That
tell
always
you.
required the 2 weeks. So that was just a hard one to make because I knew he was a good stand-up person, but he didn't put 2 weeks in, so there had to been something weird going on.
We had a guy who came to us and he said he still worked for the other company, and he said when if we gave him the position, he would put in his 2 weeks, but he requested that we don't say anything to his employer until after. And at first we were like, no way, we're going to talk to him. But then my father and I said, well, it might make the split even more uncomfortable. So we will talk to him after the fact and say, hey, listen, we just want you to know this is how it came to us. We didn't go after it. And it's actually really funny because then a couple weeks, maybe a month after that employee came to us, we saw the other business owner at a deli. And we both kind of looked at each other and we're like, hey, listen. He's like, no. He's like, how's he doing? Like, he's doing really, really well. Thank you. You did a really good job with him.
Let me buy your sandwich.
yeah, at the very least. So, but we can both through like just nonverbal cues. We both kind of like said, all right, yes, it sucks. No hard feelings. Let's move on. And they're another company who they put out a really good product. So it's similar to you guys. We're happy to go bid up against them, and our prices, as long as our pricing is close, then we don't make each other look like fools. It's as long as everyone can be close and show their value.
And two, we want to create the culture that fits the person, right? we're really details oriented in just the way we operate our vehicles, the way we operate our shop. It just comes from my personal preference and stuff like that. And so, some people don't care what the truck looks like, and great, go work for somebody that doesn't. But if you care about your environment, if you care about keeping yourself clean and your truck clean, then we're a good fit for you. And maybe you wouldn't be as good of a fit for like 4 other people in our area, whatever. So, there's just that it's not one size fits all. Like certain personalities just fit better within different business structures. And if you don't appreciate cleanliness, then maybe you're not quite somebody that would fit as well within my business model. So.
There was a quote that I saw at, I think, another contractor, excavator posted on Instagram. It said, how you do anything is how you do everything. And so when you talk about your shop, your trucks, your uniform, customers, I know, think that. They should be thinking that when they hire you or when they talk to you. And when you go look at a job, it's not only you interviewing them, they're interviewing you too, and they're trying to see, hey, what truck does he roll up in? When he opens the door, does a coffee cup fall out? What's the back of his truck look like? Are there beer cans rolling around in the back? And are his clothes dirty? And that's a representation of the company right there. Yeah.
When I first first bought the business, we had 2 older trucks, and I constantly, every time I pulled in someone's driveway, does it leak oil? Is it going to drip on my driveway? And since we've replaced those trucks with newer trucks, still older, but very clean, fresh paint, I don't think I've been asked that question in like 3-4 years now. It makes a huge difference. The customer's not even thinking that you look clean, you look professional. It sets the bar right away.
That's one thing as well that like your guys notice, right? Like somebody you bring on your crew, if it's a trash out truck with ripped seats and old everything, not that old is bad, but like, just unrespected equipment, like they're not going to respect it. Why? You don't respect it yourself. You're the owner. Like one thing that I've had, a couple people, we run NCONs on our systems, on our machines. And I've been a big proponent of just spreading the word about what it could do for your business. And, I had a company that's probably 2 or 3 times our size, and they came out, and one thing he noticed right off the bat was that we had little brooms next to our seats.
Thank you.
And that, the guy pulled up a Maybach, like Maybach, however you pronounce it. Beautiful, beautiful car. Like he respects his stuff. And when he saw me get out of a machine or my guy get out of a machine and sweep it out real quick, like you respect the tools that you work every day. Because realistically, and big shout out to Total Site in New Jersey. Mm-hmm. They have stickers in all their vehicles and all their trucks, their equipment that basically says, respect this machine. It pays for your salary. And it's so true. And not to say you have to put a value to each piece of equipment that somebody's in and hang that over their head of this is a $500,000 machine, but it's more of the fact that just the little things. Like if that machine doesn't run, if that truck doesn't start in the morning because you forgot to plug it in, that adds up to you not being able to get a raise, or you not being able to get the swag or the new hat, or be able to go to these type of training events where you can advance your education. So that's the little things add up. It's super compounding in this industry.
Well, and there's a little tip for everybody that's either looking to hire someone or is looking to get hired on somewhere. Heck, even I went to a job site, the one that we did, the big project at a greenhouse. I took a couple minutes to clean out my truck before I got there, thinking there might be an opportunity where this guy might even pop into the truck to drive around on the property, and sure enough, that happened. Yep. So, if you're going for an interview, make sure that your vehicle's clean, because that interviewer may or may not walk out to the vehicle to walk you back and take a peek inside to see how messy you are.
James, is actually funny. My uncles do that in their interviews. They'll walk the person back to the car, and they take a mental note of how the car looks like inside.
There's a company, I'm sure we all know them and follow them, called First Form. And I was listening to how, when they do their interviews, while we're interviewing the candidate, Dervin, you're gonna be out there and you're gonna go look in the park. You're gonna look for their car in the parking lot, and you're going to look in their windows and see what does their car look like? What does the inside of their car look like?
That's funny.
It's great. It's a great idea because how they treat their, I mean, that's very simple. How do you treat your car? All right. And that just translates. How are you going to work? And then they, I'm sure they talk afterwards and say, hey, yeah, his car was a mess. You're not hired.
So I know, Luke, you often speak to like the people entering the industry, and they look at people that have been in it 10, 20 years and they're like, oh my goodness, that must be nice. But when I was first getting into it, I was driving old trucks.
Yeah.
Like I don't even remember what, it's an L9000 dump truck. It was an old city
Fantastic
truck.
dump truck.
Great. Had a
truck.
Detroit engine in
Yeah.
it. Just bulletproof thing. Screamed. My family could hear me, 2 miles away coming home. But the point was, I made everything the same color. We painted everything the same color and had labels on the outside. It's kind of like what Jeff was saying. The older trucks, or even if they're a little older, you make them look good.
Yeah.
And so start with what you've got, but make sure it's clean and the image is good.
Right.
And then when you can afford the newer stuff, it's even that much more fun.
Yeah, and I love how you bring that up. And Jeff, I loved your point too of, you didn't go from very old leaking oil to brand new with a bunch of payments that you maybe couldn't afford at the time. You just took that next step up and you made sure that it was well maintained and you made sure that it was clean and consistent and yeah, I hey, oh, yeah. No, I love that just the consistency and like really taking that next step to try and to like be uniform, be clean, and a lot of it is free. Like cleaning the trucks, having clean uniforms, just being well put together.
You don't have hourly workers?
Hear me out. A lot of the strategies, a lot of these things are habits. A lot of this cleanliness is manners. A lot of this is just. I get where you're probably going to go here, so let's hear it.
I was gonna say like wiping your laptop down or using a little air duster to get the dust out of the keys is different than cleaning an excavator or greasing it. Like,
Shots fired. Shots fired.
no, I'm not
See,
demeaning
no,
them.
see, that's a. But I'm
good
I'm
point.
not
Yeah,
comparing.
What's your answer, office boy?
Yeah, here we go. Because I'm not comparing my business to your guys' businesses. I'm comparing your guys' business to other businesses that I know can make it happen with a lot less money, with a lot less assets, like whatever you call it, even just brand new in the business.
Right.
And so no matter what year the truck is, that's what I mean is like how they present themselves professionally, how they roll up in the vehicles. And so whether we're using the little dust buster on my laptop or the excavator, I know that's just an excuse.
Right.
And that's an excuse that you just can't tolerate.
Without a doubt. No. And it also goes to efficiency, right? And obviously mine was a joke at yours. Like
Oh yeah, no.
I
can't take you seriously this whole trip.
I run into that a lot. I really do.
Yeah.
Like my guys, sometimes I'll say something joking, and they look at each other like, was he joking? I don't know if he's joking or not.
That's good. That's
No, yes.
Keep it
Yes,
that's
he
really
was
good.
joking.
You keep,
I don't know. Sometimes
you
I don't know
figure
what
it
I'm
out.
thinking.
How are you
Right?
going to react to that?
You sure about that?
You sure about that?
So that's the whole thing, though. But it goes to efficiency too, right? Like you clean your tools, you put them back in the truck where they belong, whether it's the operator, the foreman, the laborer, or me just showing up on a job. I know where the pipe wrenches are. I know where. Shout out to Anderson Septic on these rigid belt strap pipe holders. We'll put a link in the
Things are
description.
great.
We'll put a link in the description
we
because
should,
they're
we
that
should.
good.
Yeah, shout out Rigid.
I don't know if you use them. Yeah, rigid pipe clamps. But yeah, so that's the thing. Like knowing where that tool is when you need it at that certain time makes the job flow, makes everything work well, and you're professional. The homeowners, a lot of times, they're in the windows. They're watching you do what you do. And if you're yelling to the guy, like even just having radios on a job site, it's professional, it's clean. You're not yelling.
Oh, man,
know.
Mr. Headset. I love
He
it.
loves that. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. And with Travis and James sitting here too, two of the most organized, clean, put together companies, businesses, trailers I've ever seen. It's just it's inspiring, I think, for anyone. And as you do a keynote presentation on it, and as you show people how to do it, because I believe you learned from Travis, right, or got the inspiration from him.
Yeah, I think the first time I really wanted to make an effort was when I caught Travis doing a story and just probably even a 2-second glimpse of the back of one of his trucks or trailers. Like, oh, I like that, and I think I shot him a message, and we talked back and forth a little bit, and yeah, that's really what got me started on getting a little bit more organized inside of our work trailer.
And even just being clean, I think like for us, we've had it before. You're washing your truck and you realize something's loose or something's not where it's supposed to be. Just gets you that one extra time of like another hands-on. You're going through your truck in more detail. Obviously, you do pre-trip and stuff, but yeah, we've noticed things where you're cleaning all of a sudden. Oh, this isn't where it's supposed to be, or this is loose. It just gets you an extra. It saves you money.
Yeah, and I think it's easy enough as the owner, but like, how do you guys set the standard for your employees? Like, as you're growing and as you can't be everywhere all the time, like, how do you guys set that standard?
I think it's the great gauge for how much you care. So if you're already cleaning your vehicle, already cleaning your tools, you want to excel. You care about what you're doing. If you have to tell somebody to do it, yeah, it's money out of your pocket. You give them time to do it, but it's okay. At least they're doing it. It's the ones that it's the trucks that don't happen when you give them the time to do it, where I think it's the problem. So it's a good gauge of how well somebody's going to care about what they do. Because in this industry, where we're in a dirty industry, if you care about it and you keep yourself clean, you're on your way up. If I have to give you an hour to clean your own stuff, that's fine. That's good.
It's worth it.
It's worth. That's cool. But you're not there yet. You're not ready for that upward mobility in this business. And I think that's how I would gauge it.
And Luke, to your question, they have to see you do the work too. They have to see you clean the trucks and you clean the machines. And then, like one of the speakers today was talking about, they're going to follow your lead. If they see you come into the shop every morning, barely say hello, sit down at your desk, don't have a little morning meeting, don't start the cogs pot, don't warm up their trucks, don't clean the snow off their trucks, don't make sure their batteries are charged, then why should they put in the extra work? So, you know, it's just like parents, it's like parenting. You know, my boys watch my wife and I. They literally follow our lead. It's the same thing with your employees. You know, you want to show them like, hey, I'm going to do everything that I ask you to do, and it shows what you expect. It's all about just being able to do it yourself.
How about like a couple things that really irk me is like the saying, "Looks good from my house."
Yeah.
Like that drives me up a wall. Like I've had a couple of guys that was their saying, like, "Oh, it looks good from my house." No, man, like that's your name, and we don't get rich off of one job. The company doesn't grow, and we don't buy new trucks and have new equipment off of one job. We show up for every customer, and then they tell 10 customers, and then they tell their 10 customers, and then that's how we grow. Yeah. So, you know, looks good from my house. Come on, you got to take more pride than that.
Yeah.
And then also like the do as I say, not as I do. If you're the guy coming in, you know, on a trailer with a machine as the boss, and your tracks are dirty, you didn't chain down properly, you know, that sets the standard and the precedence for the rest of your guys on what's acceptable, whether you're doing it blatantly or just not, you know?
Yeah, business is a long game. I think we all know that. And all of us can get lucky and have a great year, start a business, you know, see that honeymoon phase where we get that bump. But the real successful businesses are the ones that have that consistency or that long-term effect. That are building a legacy. So all of those points go into that. It's that delayed gratification. It's the consistency. It's, you know, going the extra mile, leading by example, because you're going for something so much bigger than just a few projects that you won that year or like a revenue record for the 1 year. But it's like you're trying to build something so much more.
Yeah, like you may have sold 2 or 3 big jobs that get you up to that. Oh, I made $5 million this year.
Yeah.
Gross. But like, how do you sustain it? You have to have the systems, the softwares, the SOPs. Like that's something that I've gained from this whole group is just coming up with that standard practice that's scalable, because it goes down to the basic thing of a job description. How can you hold somebody accountable for a task and get on them for not having it done if they don't even know it's expected of them? You know, we need to clarify and then clarify one more time so that everybody knows, you know, what's expected and then how to toe to that line. And you know, that's the goal.
How are you building SOPs, and what is an SOP?
So standard operating procedure. So I've looked at a couple different options on how to do it software wise. We looked at the WWETT training platform. It just didn't quite align with what we were doing, because what we do is so industry specific, and we all can relate on the same things. Like how all of us have talked about how do you work an 8-hour day? It's like the site work guys in your area all can do it, but in our industry, it just doesn't make sense. Like the most production on our job site happens between the end of lunchtime and 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So knowing that, and then also just, specific to our industries, we've utilized Company Cam to document a lot of our projects, knowing what materials were there, what has to get done, and then also even like the things that we do over and over again, of even down to chaining a machine on a specific trailer. This is how you chain the machine down. This is where it gets positioned. This is how many straps and how many chain and binders you need. And that way there's no question. And going back to the accountability thing, you can hold people accountable for making sure it gets done properly. And you don't see those things. And actually one of our really good customers owns a Dunkin' Donuts, said something to my business partner that aligned with the way I feel about what we do and how we work. And he asked us to give him a quote on concrete lifting. So fixing, the curb, basically the tripping hazards on concrete at his site. And, we go there for the meeting and we're talking to him like, yeah, this is a big liability. Somebody could trip and fall. And he specifically said, no, I'm not worried about the liability. I'm worried about hurting somebody's life and changing the way that they can do their life. Literally, like I don't want to change the course of their life. So that's something that I've taken with me into a lot of things. Is like, you don't chain that machine down right, it rolls off and you kill somebody or hurt somebody to that they can't do something that they love. There's so much more than just those little things. There's consequences.
Baby steps. I have to say everything to do with SOPs is baby steps. Pick your safety hazards first, and you start there, and you move forward from there into how to clean a filter, how to properly maintain a machine. You pick whatever your battle is, and you move forward from there. It's always about baby steps. You got to start somewhere. You're not going to have a manual for your whole business day one. And if you think you're going to go crazy. You're going to go crazy if you think there's a manual for everything that we do already ready. It's not there. And then the training time, to your point, what I wanted to say earlier on the accountability, there's got to be a time where you as the owner have to grow the business. So it can't be you to be the one accountable for all those things to be cleaned, all those things to be greased. That's the transition that I think I'm in right now is where does my responsibility stop? Because I can't do the million other marketing things and everything else that I'm doing and come in and do all that at 6:30 a.m. It's not possible and maintain a family. Right. So I think it's a convoluted comment by that instructor to where you got to be in the right phase to be the one to lead by example.
Right. Yeah. I've noticed ever since we've hired more people, I've been able to do a million other things.
You got to pick that one guy. You're that guy.
Yeah.
That's the example.
And what's actually great about our guys is they kind of do it automatically themselves because they realize, hey, I need these tools. I enjoy where I work. Let me clean those filters. Let me do this. And I don't really ever have to tell them, I won't say tell them what to do. I don't have to ever really remind them of these things. They just know what they have to do. But when you're more available for other things, when you don't have to grease the truck or wash the truck, and you can go out and look at jobs, sell jobs, even do some of the work, that's so invaluable.
Yeah.
Hey, we haven't talked much about the WWETT show. Who's excited about seeing
Trucks?
I'm so excited. So at 9:00 tomorrow, it opens up, I believe.
I think so. Yeah.
I feel like they probably do this on purpose. Like Monday, it's only education, so it gets people to focus up. Let's get there, let's learn something. Because I feel like once the show floor opens up, there's so many people I want to go see, so many booths, vendors, and just things I want to learn as well. And just as I'm talking with you guys too, there's mutual connections. There's you should come meet. You should come meet Raul.
Yeah, Raul from Engine Accessory Manufacturing, where we bought our recent tank truck. Raul, George, the whole sales team, and amazing.
Yeah, it's so fun. So I think tomorrow is going to be so exciting. It's also a few of our last days already, which is crazy. But we're just gonna go out with a bang. I know we've got the party tomorrow, but yeah, what are you guys excited to see? Any certain booths, any business deals going down? Like, what do we got? What do we got cooking?
Yeah.
All right, so I'll have a truck on the floor at Imperial, lettered up.
Give me a fist.
yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so I'll be there. I got our friends over at Sledgehammer. I love going to see them. I'll go see the Elgin. I'll go see the Infiltrator, and probably go check out some Jetter stuff. But
Yeah.
that'll be where I'm heading.
So what do you do when you go stop? You stop by, say hi, you hang out for a bit. Like,
What do you
are the
got for me
booths
that's
like?
free? Give me the tickets.
Yeah, there you go. That's awesome.
No, so the best thing about it is we're using all these tools, we're doing everything. And you think you're using it the right way, and then you meet a guy that does it every day, or gal that does it every day, and they're like, "No, you should be doing it this way. This is how you use it." So when you get in front of a rep that uses it all the time, they give you so many tips and tricks on it, especially like the NVV blower pumps. We're going to be checking NVE out on their blower pumps that they have, because there's a lot of things that go into those pumps that isn't everyday maintenance that you have to know. And they have a lot of training manuals on SOPs on those that go well. An Infiltrator, I mean, they're buying somebody new every day.
Yeah.
So you got to figure out who they got and who you got to go to go get their parts now.
Yeah, and I suppose part of what you're doing too is like, what they're always innovating and adapting, and so the reps are excited to tell you, hey, I know your situation, I know your business, but we got this coming down the line for you, and this is what you can be excited about. But then for you too, it's just exciting to see always see that innovation, but then to do it in person, there's nothing better.
You look them right in the eye, Luke, and you're like, "That's great. Take me out to lunch and let's talk."
Yeah, pay for my bill.
Yeah.
Swag, give me the hat.
Yeah, I think
No,
I think
Yeti
this is
cooler.
like my 4th or 5th time at the show. So I've done the trade floor a couple times. One of the things that was very valuable to us, especially early on, was getting some one-on-one time with the treatment plant manufacturers. A perfect example, I think first time we came here, we got a rundown on the Fuji Clean. We had installed a bunch of them, but to actually get some hands-on training on how to properly perform maintenance on their units. And so coming to a show like this, you get opportunity to meet up with pretty much anybody that's anybody at this point in our industry, from the treatment plant side, tank manufacturers, and obviously more on the pumper truck and hydrovac truck side as well. So that's a great opportunity.
Funny story. I was trying to get my truck here too, because we ordered a new one as well. And I thought, man, that would have been cool. It would have been cool to both have trucks here. But shout out to Success. Okay. I'm just as happy that Jacob has a truck here as I am that I almost had a truck here. And that is the fact that we're doing well enough that we're buying new trucks. And that's cool. To me, that's sick. And then just to talk about NVE a little more, what's cool to see over the years, like the models that we have are this big. The models that we're getting now are like this big. How do you do the same thing smaller and smaller and smaller? And it's just so cool to see, these vac trucks and these blower companies just make more and more compact units that have like 960 CFM. I mean, that's like nuts. You can pull, 33 feet ahead in a 3 or 4 inch hose. I mean, it's just crazy. Some of the stats on these vacuum blowers, and so to talk to the reps and to kick the tires and to say, hey, this is fun. I used to dream about buying a new truck, and here we go. We both got something in the pipeline, and stuff too, like he said, like Sledgehammer and all the different companies that we sell product for and use in our businesses. It's just so much fun.
Jeff Hammersmith.
Hammersmith. Oh, shout out to our boy Dominic, Poor Pumper Society. I need to buy a Crustbuster for our new truck, and so I'm going to buy it here because it's cheaper. And I just saw his promo tonight. He says, "Come visit me at booth, whatever, Crustbuster booth." So we're going to say hi to Dominic.
Good one too.
Jacob, congratulations for having a new truck, and the truck at the show. That's a pretty good. That's not pretty good. That's a really good feeling when you see all these people walking by, pointing, touching, taking pictures of your truck. That's pretty ecstatic.
So funny story is for the first time we did a QR code on the side of the truck to scan in. called up my rep. I go, bro, scan that and tell me it works right now.
Oh, no.
And he scanned it and it works.
Oh,
It'll pull you up. He was like, a couple different angles, it works. I go, thank God.
Where does it go?
It'll take you to my website and my contact form.
Where on the truck is it? And
Side and
Obviously,
both
I'll see it
sides.
tomorrow.
Both sides. And I think the one on the back we didn't do because I was worried that it was too little.
Right.
That'd be a hazard to scan it in. So we did it on the sides. I don't want to get into this conversation. It's a whole different conversation. I am not one on big wrapping trucks, big everything else. You know me. I'm clean lines. I have my little A&R American flag symbol, very clean. I use a chrome tank. I'll keep it that way. I have some stuff on a door. My service trucks, though, that's where I blow them up. My pump trucks, I just keep it pretty basic.
yeah, speaking about like lettering, and lettering has changed so much over the years. It used to be, name, phone number, town, and then everything you do, which is what you think is great because like, wow, I want someone to know everything I do by looking at my truck. Now it's about building your brand well enough where all you need to put on your truck is your logo. Where if someone sees the shape of your logo from a quarter mile away, they'd be like, yeah, that's Anderson's. I see that truck around all the time. Or that's Diggett. I recognize the font. I do it all the time with trucks and cars and businesses. And then what do? They just we all hop on Google.
Yeah.
And that's how we don't need phone numbers anymore, in trucks. And you still can put them on, but you want to work hard at building the recognizable brand. But the QR code, I've seen that around a lot recently, and that's you'll have to keep me posted on how that works. If you get people who actually do it, like from their car, or if you're pumping we do a lot of residential, so no one's walking up on a driveway taking the pictures, but really like when your truck goes to the gas station or fuel station and goes to the deli for lunch or whatever. I'm curious the stats on how that QR code ends up working.
Well, the sales side of it is great. So to go to other companies like we've been talking about that we're going to reps, all these other businesses, whenever I'm working for somebody or I want to show a client a product, it's no more about sending them a million brochures or sending them just a video. It's just scan this QR code and it sends them right to the spot they want to go to look at it. I found that to be pretty streamlined and works pretty well. But that was my biggest fear is you're driving and you're trying to scan in a QR code. How well is that going to really work? But I'm guessing, my hope is, and I will keep everybody posted, you're sitting in a neighborhood, you're parked, somebody goes by, and be like, oh, yeah. And then you get a couple calls from that.
Or a red light, you're in traffic. I mean, we get a lot of calls. Hey, I was behind your truck, and it reminded me to pump my tank. Where they could just, if you're in a red light, just zoom in a little. Boom.
I just
there
got
you go.
hit. I just wanted you to know that.
Yeah.
Something really cool. Actually, Luke and I were talking about this is utilizing not only the QR code, but making your website a tool that can really help you and almost fill the role of a person where you can get it to interface with. I'm sure James has something to put into here technology wise, but having that as a tool where I can now direct people to that website, and even if it's just a talking track that I know by heart, but it gives them a visual, it shows them real-time pricing. That way it's in writing, they know what it is. And honestly, it frees up time for us because something I'm realizing is like there's only a certain amount of time in a day. And if it isn't serving, it sounds selfish, but if it's not serving me or the business or growing or moving forward, you have to cut it off.
Yeah.
Like if it's a phone call, it's not productive. Like shut it down. On to the
I think
next.
what the $1 million app is, somebody figures out how to make a septic pumping app that can get you just go onto it and it just cycles through all the local companies and gets you an appointment with one of those companies. That's a $1 million idea. Yeah. Right there. For that very reason.
But yeah, making your website a resource for not only yourself, where it takes and delegates time away from what you can be doing, but also your clients can utilize it. They can take it to the next level with it.
Yeah. My favorite part about that is, not everyone's going to be looking at your website 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, right? It might be midnight and they're looking at it. And so how can you educate them? How can you answer the questions that they're going to ask you anyway, so that when they do call you, they are more educated and they can ask the right questions, and you're not just repeating yourself every call. And we went as far, I think 18 months ago, we have all of our pricing on our website, because my biggest question was, yeah, I love you guys, like love what you do, love who you work with. How much does it cost? And I was answering that every time, and it was a good 10-minute conversation. And so what I wanted to do is like, I'd rather them know and then ask me like, how does it work? What can I expect? What does this get me? And then I can talk through that, because you still want to sell. You still want to show the value. You still want to build that trust. And honestly, too, in most of our businesses, we need that. We need them to be curious as well. We don't want them just to say, yep, come do it, come get it done. It's like, no, well, there's a process to this too. We want to make sure we're a good fit for each other.
I think it's that homepage though. Do you put that price all on your homepage, like right when you land? So imagine that for some of our services. Like, how many things are you going to put on that homepage on your price? Septic pumping, filter cleaning, service call, install, designs. That's a lot of minutia to go over on a homepage. So I think that's the one reason I haven't put my prices on there, is I'm worried somebody's not going to read through all of that to get to what they want to know.
Yeah, two things on that. Pricing page, like any SaaS company, that's the number one page people go to. You go on the top bar, you see pricing. I just want to know how much it is. Just tell me. But then the second thing is, and I'm a big fan of this, is there's two models, I would say. There's the value. So yeah, it's $10 off or $50 off at, cheapest in town. Here's our price. Or the perceived value. And so, yeah, we are a little bit more expensive. Here's what we charge. We're kind of middle of the road, or we're on the higher end. And so sometimes that's good. Sometimes you steer away people. And one strategy I like to use is disqualify as quickly as possible. I don't want to be on the phone with them if I know they're not going to be a good fit, if they can't afford it. And so if that's you guys or most of us where we're not the cheapest, sometimes that's a good thing, because you disqualify a lot quicker.
Yeah.
It's the gatekeeper.
Yeah.
Right? Like you can stop that person, not to say it in a negative way, but not every customer is our customer. So having that phone call not come in because they know it just doesn't fit. If they're looking for value, the actual price, that's it. And I just kind of stuttered it out a little bit, but it's funny because a bunch of us online have this saying of value over price. And
V over P.
Yeah, V over P.
V over P.
And don't worry, I already trademarked it, so nobody can steal it. But V over P, value over price, it's something that Brian and I kind of came up with, where he'll pick up a bluestone patio, repair a sewer line, come and do a tank, and then put that bluestone patio back down.
Yeah, which is not in our proposals at all. We always say we're not putting it back. We're not responsible for it, but we do it anyway.
Right, but it's your name, and that's the cool part about it, is like we charge a premium for what we offer, and we're also bringing that value though. So
and talking about pricing, it's pretty cool to hear how Luke, you guys put your pricing up. Some companies do. We don't put our pricing on our website. Two schools of thought for that. One is most important really is I want the customer to call our office, and I want them to talk to my secret weapon, which isn't a secret. It's Sam, my sister, because when they talk to her, they then understand the value that we have that our business has, and then when they say, how much is it? Oh, it's X amount. Oh, okay. Well, you know what? You did just spend 5 minutes on the phone with me. You told me about how you work and what you're going to do, and you answered the phone on one ring. It is time. It does pull her away from other things, but we're at the point now where I would rather her be on the phone. She spent 45 minutes on the phone with a customer once. Thank God they booked a pump. We can sacrifice a little bit of that time right now. But and right away she's pretty good at reading customers when they call in, if they're serious or if they're just shopping, and then she'll direct the conversation like, hey, you know what? I'm not going to be on the phone with you for a long time. Here's how much we are, and then move on. But talk to her, and let us show you why we are a little more expensive. But the other side to that is, do you want your competitors to know how much you? I'm curious. Do you want your competitors to know how much you are?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
does that scare you?
No.
Yeah.
They know
Yeah,
anyways,
they'll
and
figure it out.
no.
They'll see your quote. They're going to look at your contract.
Yeah.
They're going to rob what they like out of it.
Absolutely. I think we should all be talking and say, hey, where are you? Should we all go up a little bit? Yeah. If I'm $400 to pump a tank and I'm losing it to you because you're $250, like, A, how are you doing this? And B, that doesn't look good for anybody. So we all our business and our trade is worth a lot more than that. So you can come up and maybe I should stay where I'm at, but I always say, like, we should just, all the local pumpers and septic companies, we should all have a little breakfast, every now and then and say, hey, where's everyone's pricing at?
Be careful with that.
Yeah. Collusion. Third time's a charm. So we know where we all at, and so we don't steal business from each other the wrong way.
I think it's about how many people you got in your market as well to deal with.
Yeah.
So I know, like in our area, there's at least 12 different pump trucks. 12 different pump trucks
That's a lot.
in a 60-mile radius. So the one guy is like, I need to keep my truck on the road. I will never raise my price until I have enough residual income, enough residual calls to keep my at that 6 or 7. You just wait for that person to go out of business because life is miserable.
It'll happen.
Life is miserable at that price. And that's kind of the nature of it.
That's a great point too. I'm so glad you brought it up because at the end of the day, like, the business has to be fed. We have to make sure we do whatever it takes to keep this thing rolling and
Feed the machine.
And it's oxygen. You got to keep it going. And that's like the selfish part of business. You have to take care of yourself and your family first. And the business is a huge, huge part of that.
We need to start showing our customers and showing everyone how professional a septic business can be. It's not just pumping a tank and moving on. It's Dervin says best. Your guys, your employees, your gals, they're not employees, they're technicians. They're professional wastewater technicians. So let's show them why. Show them how.
Sweet. All right, boys. I think
That's a
I
wrap.
think that was a wrap. I think that went a lot better than last night. Last night was a good time too.
We did a podcast last night.
Oh, we did.
All right. Oh, yes. Yes. Thank you to the WWETT Show. Thank you to Sludgehammer, Encon, Charlie Huff, our insurance guy. I will put all the notes in the description here. And then you guys had thrown in Rigid, was it?
The rigid strap wrench.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll throw that in.
We'll throw that in the description as well.
National Vacuum,
NVE.
NVE,
NVE.
Michigan-based.
Shoutouts.
Yep. Everyone get a quick shout out here. I'll shout out Reese's Sticks, one of my favorite things. And I'm also going to shout out trade shows. So MSTA, WWETT Show, Con Expo. This is the fun part of the industry. If you haven't been to a trade show yet, reach out to one of us, reach out to somebody who you know is going. It will change your life. I believe that. So Reese's Sticks and trade shows.
Shout out my wife who's been taking care of our 4 kids
Dude,
for
making
basically the last 2 weeks.
Olivia, I'm thankful for you.
Hey,
Reese's Sticks, you're making it look terrible.
dude, that's on you. That's on you. I've taken the opportunity. Last 2 weeks all by herself with the kids between the Michigan show and this one. So that's all I could come up with.
Anyone else have a...
Yeah, our steakhouse that we had dinner at tonight.
Sullivan's.
Local indie
And
steakhouse.
Josh.
Yeah, and Josh,
The
our
OG.
waiter.
Josh
yeah.
is so great.
Yeah.
Man.
Now, shout out to all the companies and people out here who actually are taking this convention for what it is and putting in the work to make it more than just a come on out and party and look at cool stuff. It's more than that. So
Yeah, absolutely. I already used my
Where'd
2
you
shout
come
outs.
from with that?
I'll give a shout out to my guy Brandon for holding the fort down.
There we
while
go.
I'm gone.
Shout out Brandon.
Yeah, all the guys back home working. I mean, we haven't stopped. A lot more snow events than we've had ever in the last 3 years. But, it's going really well. And then also my beautiful wife. Thank you, James.
Yeah, there you go. That's right.
Not only is she holding down the fort with our 6-month-old, but she hooked us up with food, Instacart order.
Yeah, Instacart.
And I know everybody
Shout out
appreciates
Dana.
that.
Air mattresses.
There it is.
Yeah,
In case
yeah.
that
Air
other podcast
mattresses,
never
9
sees
volt
the eye today.
batteries. she's the backbone of it. So thank you.
Dana could have been my shout out too. Just
Oh
like,
yeah, you're up.
yeah.
Well, I get two. Yeah, Dana's too. Yeah, there you go.
Dervin, you got a shout out before we jump off here?
Shout out Dominic Poor Pumper Society at Sludge at
Poor Pumper Society.
Trustbusters. Thank you.
Trustbusters. Cool.
Saves our backs, saves time. Sludge. Why do I keep doing this?
Because it mixes the sludge.
The sludge
Mixes
mixer.
sludge,
The
yeah.
sludge mixer. Okay, I'll get that word in. And shout out to my foreman Jimmy, who's not going to make it because his grandma died. So they're out to Vermont
Condolences.
to help take care of that. But yeah, good crew, good leader, good team. Shout out to my team
Heck yeah.
and my boys who came with me.
Yeah, and Lucian,
This is
our
my
producer.
thing, you know. There's one thing. Shout out to my boys who take an interest in stuff that we as business owners are involved in. They just tag along, and maybe there's some things that they can enjoy, and
Yep.
there's things that they're really good at. But this is our thing. It's not their thing necessarily, but it's cool when they like join in and be like, "Oh, this is kind of cool." So shout out to kids that work in the business.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, it does make the business better.
You done?
Wait.
Drop the mic.
We're still recording. We're still recording.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Play nice.
So shout out to my wife, but I'd say a shout out to this group. Anybody that's been in this business for more than 20 years, this never existed. This type of camaraderie among peers has never happened. Talking about this has never happened. This show was that conduit among everybody, but this has really done it. You've done a great job with all of this and all that. And I'll shout out my boys at Sledgehammer.
There we go. Can't wait to see him tomorrow. I haven't met Will. We've just had a bunch of long texts
Dude,
between
just-
each other.
just
and
tell them
some
to slow down.
very
baby.
fast-
Slow down.
Yeah.
Slow
How
down.
many exclamation marks were on those text
Very
messages?
fast voice memos.
be life changing.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm ready. And no, but yeah, thank you guys for being here. The last 2 nights in a row, and I know I'm so excited we did the 2 nights in a row because we have one more night tomorrow night. It is going to be the finale, and I can't wait. And thank you all for, if you're watching, like and subscribe on all the channels, Spotify, give us a review, and of course YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you listen to the show. And with that, let's go drink some beers.
Let's go.
Cheers, guys.